when someone ignores you do this. Stay calm and don't take it personally. People may ignore others for various reasons: stress, personal issues, or just a need for space. Don't immediately assume their behavior is a reflection of your worth. Take a moment to ground yourself and avoid reacting out of frustration. Reflect on the relationship in context. Ask yourself if there has been any recent conflict or miscommunication. Sometimes people may need time to process or may not even realize they're being distant. Consider any patterns in their behavior to assess if this is temporary or ongoing. Give them space. Sometimes people pull away to deal with things on their own. Respect their space and avoid forcing communication, as this could push them further away. Letting some time pass often allows things to return to normal more naturally. Reach out calmly and directly if you feel comfortable. Send a friendly message acknowledging that you haven't heard from them and ask if everything is okay. A gentle, non-confrontational approach shows care without adding pressure. Focus on your own well-being. When someone ignores you, it's an opportunity to focus on yourself and your other relationships. Engage in activities you enjoy, reach out to supportive friends, and nurture your own happiness, regardless of their response. Handling being ignored with calm and self-respect can help maintain your emotional well-being, whatever the outcome. When someone ignores you, the immediate reaction may be to feel hurt, disappointed, or even angry. It's natural to want to understand why this is happening and to seek answers, but it's essential not to take their behavior personally. People often withdraw for a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with you. They might be dealing with personal challenges like stress at work, relationship issues, or mental health struggles, which can make it hard for them to focus on social interactions. Sometimes people need a moment of isolation to recharge, reflect, or handle their own emotions without the pressure of maintaining social connections. Taking things personally when someone ignores you can lead to self-blame and unnecessary overthinking. You might find yourself analyzing your recent conversations or interactions, wondering if you said or did something wrong. This can spiral into self-criticism, creating anxiety and affecting your self-esteem. Instead, remind yourself that not everything someone else does is a reflection of you or your actions. People are complex and have lives, feelings, and stressors that are outside of your control. Choosing not to take it personally allows you to protect your own mental health by avoiding the stress that comes from overanalyzing and personalizing others' actions. It's also helpful to remember that you can't control others' behavior, only your own response to it. By staying calm and not internalizing their behavior, you maintain control over your emotional state and reactions. Keeping a cool head helps you respond to the situation with maturity and patience rather than letting your emotions lead to impulsive or confrontational responses. Taking a step back to observe the situation with a clear mind can prevent misunderstandings from escalating and allows you to make thoughtful choices about how you want to move forward. When you choose not to take their behavior personally, it becomes easier to respect their need for space without feeling rejected. This perspective not only helps you remain grounded, but also fosters healthier relationships by not holding others to unrealistic expectations. Staying calm allows you to approach the situation without resentment, which can improve your own sense of peace, regardless of how the other person eventually responds. In the end, giving others the benefit of the doubt reflects emotional resilience and maturity, showing that you value yourself and your well-being above temporary discomfort. When someone you care about seems to ignore you, it's worth taking time to reflect on the relationship and the context surrounding the silence. Sometimes people distance themselves because of a change in dynamics or because of something specific that happened in your recent interactions. Before jumping to conclusions, consider the history and nature of your relationship. Ask yourself whether there's been a shift in how you communicate or connect, and whether anything recently might have influenced their behavior. It's natural for relationships to evolve, but a thoughtful reflection on the situation can provide clarity and reduce unnecessary anxiety. Take a moment to assess if there were any misunderstandings, unintentional comments, or behaviors that might have impacted the other person. Small things like a joke that didn't land well or a disagreement on a minor issue might seem insignificant to you but could resonate differently with them. Sometimes people take time to process their emotions before they can move forward, and this can look like them ignoring you when in reality they're just processing. Think about any recent conversations or shared experiences that could give context to their current response. Reflecting on these details can sometimes reveal if the person might feel misunderstood, hurt, or overwhelmed in ways you may not have noticed. Additionally, consider the level of openness and communication that you typically share with this person. Is this someone who usually tells you when they're upset, or do they tend to withdraw quietly? Reflecting on this aspect of their personality can provide insight into their behavior. Some people are naturally more reserved or introverted and may need time alone to recharge, especially if they're going through a challenging period. For instance, someone who usually keeps their feelings private may need space to process emotions and might not know how to express their needs for that space without creating distance. Knowing how they typically handle stress or conflict might give you a better understanding of whether their behavior is out of character or a pattern of self-preservation. It's also helpful to take a broader look at the context in their life beyond your relationship. Life stressors such as work, family obligations, financial issues, or health concerns can heavily influence how available someone feels to connect with others. If you're aware of any external pressures they may be facing, remember that these can impact their energy and focus. People often pull away from social interactions, even with those they care about, when they feel overwhelmed, anxious, or preoccupied. Recognizing the outside factors that might be affecting them can help you put their behavior into perspective and remind you that their silence might not be about you at all. Lastly, reflecting on the relationship in context also means assessing your own needs and expectations. If you find that you're especially affected by their distance, it might help to think about why this particular person's response matters so much to you. Understanding your own expectations and what you seek from this relationship can help you approach the situation more mindfully. You might realize that your response is based on a desire for closeness or a fear of conflict, and this awareness can guide you in deciding whether it's time to communicate your feelings or simply give them space. Taking time to understand both their context and your feelings allows for a balanced perspective, helping you respond to their behavior with empathy and respect, rather than assumptions or frustration. When someone starts ignoring you, one of the best responses you can choose is to give them space. Though it's tempting to reach out or try to resolve things immediately, allowing for distance can often be the most respectful and productive approach. Giving space can mean refraining from constant messaging, checking in too frequently, or analyzing their every response for clues. By stepping back, you give the other person the time to sort through their own feelings, circumstances, or challenges without the added pressure of responding to you. This act of patience can be powerful. It communicates that you respect their need for time and don't expect them to operate on your timeline. Allowing someone space also reduces the likelihood of miscommunication and overreaction. When emotions are high, interactions can easily become tense or misinterpreted, leading to further misunderstandings. Taking a step back allows both of you to decompress, creating a calmer environment for future communication. It's often during times of reflection that people gain perspective on their own feelings, making it easier for them to approach conversations with clarity and empathy. Giving them the room to reflect not only shows maturity, but also sets a tone of mutual respect that strengthens the foundation of your relationship. It's also worth considering that people often need space for personal reasons unrelated to the relationship. They might be dealing with stress at work, family responsibilities, health issues, or even their own internal conflicts. By not intruding during these moments, you allow them to focus on what they need to work through without feeling the added obligation to explain their every move. This restraint on your part can actually build a stronger relationship, as it shows that you are a supportive presence rather than an additional source of stress. When people feel supported rather than pressured, they're often more inclined to return to the relationship when they're ready with a renewed sense of trust. Giving space also allows you the opportunity to reflect and take care of yourself. Focusing too intently on the other person's silence can be mentally exhausting and might make you feel uncertain or anxious. Instead, use this time to reconnect with your own interests, focus on activities you enjoy, and spend time with other friends or family members who uplift you. Prioritizing your own well-being can serve as a reminder that while relationships are important, your happiness and peace don't have to depend solely on one person's engagement or validation. It can be empowering to take a step back and remember that you are capable of thriving even if someone else temporarily withdraws. At times, giving space may reveal things about the relationship that can only be understood with a bit of distance. If someone consistently pulls away without explanation or doesn't return to the relationship, it can be an indicator that they may not be as invested as you are. Allowing them space can clarify whether their distance is a temporary need or a consistent pattern. This insight can help you make more informed decisions about how to proceed, potentially saving you from prolonged confusion or heartache. Sometimes distance reveals that the relationship needs recalibration, whether that means having a candid conversation about boundaries or deciding to step back altogether. Giving someone space is ultimately a practice in patience and respect. It can be challenging not to have answers right away, but allowing things to unfold naturally often leads to the best outcomes. When you refrain from pushing for immediate responses or resolutions, you create an atmosphere where genuine connection and understanding can flourish. Letting things take their course also encourages the other person to feel safe and unpressured in your presence. This dynamic can foster a stronger, more authentic connection when they do decide to re-engage, because they'll know they can rely on your understanding. In the end, giving someone space is an act of compassion, both toward them and yourself. It allows you both the chance to reconnect on more thoughtful, emotionally grounded terms, which can be the foundation for a deeper and more resilient relationship. When someone you care about seems to be ignoring you, reaching out calmly and directly can be an effective way to address the situation without escalating tensions. The key to doing this well lies in maintaining a gentle, non-confrontational approach that expresses concern without assigning blame or appearing overly demanding. This can be a challenging balance to achieve, especially if you're feeling hurt or confused. However, approaching the person with calmness and kindness allows you to open the lines of communication in a way that fosters understanding rather than defensiveness or withdrawal. When you decide to reach out, it's best to do so with a mindset focused on curiosity and empathy. Start by choosing a medium of communication that feels appropriate for the relationship. If you typically speak by phone, consider making a brief call. If texting is more common, a thoughtful message can work just as well. Regardless of the method, your tone is essential. A message that is simple, direct, and free of accusations will make the other person feel safe to respond honestly. For example, you might say something like, "I've noticed we haven't been in touch much lately, and I just wanted to check in to see if everything is okay on your end." This phrasing shows care and a willingness to listen without implying that they are at fault or pressuring them for an immediate answer. Keeping the message calm and straightforward can prevent the other person from feeling cornered or defensive. When people sense a compassionate and non-judgmental inquiry, they're more likely to share what's going on in their lives. Maybe they've been overwhelmed with work, family responsibilities, or personal issues they're struggling to communicate. By showing that you're open to whatever they need to say, you create an environment where they feel comfortable explaining their side. If they have pulled away due to a specific issue or misunderstanding between you, this kind of approach can also encourage them to share their feelings more openly, which can help resolve underlying tension that you might not have been aware of. It's also important to be prepared for various possible responses. The person may respond positively, giving you a clear reason for their recent distance, or they might express frustration or hesitation. In some cases, they may not respond at all. By reaching out with calmness and detachment from a particular outcome, you prepare yourself emotionally for any kind of response. This keeps you from feeling overly disappointed or reactive if they don't immediately open up. By managing your expectations, you protect yourself from feeling further hurt, and you give them the freedom to respond when they're ready. While reaching out, it's equally essential to keep the conversation focused on understanding rather than on proving a point or seeking validation. It can be tempting to say something that implies guilt, like "I feel hurt that you haven't been answering me." But this can unintentionally put the other person on the defensive. Instead, keep the tone light and open-ended to signal that you're not seeking an apology but simply want clarity. You might add something like, "I just wanted to make sure there's nothing I did to cause any discomfort, and I'm here to talk if there's anything on your mind." This shows that your primary interest is in their well-being and the health of the relationship rather than in getting a particular response or apology. After reaching out, allow the person time to absorb your message. They may not respond right away, and that's okay. When someone feels ignored, it's natural to want immediate reassurance, but patience is important here. If they're dealing with personal issues or processing their own emotions, it could take time for them to feel ready to share. Giving them that time demonstrates that your care is genuine and that you respect their need to respond at their own pace. Often, a calm and considerate message can plant the seed for a meaningful conversation later, even if the response isn't instant. Lastly, reaching out calmly and directly gives you a sense of closure, regardless of the outcome. By taking the step to communicate with kindness and respect, you affirm your own values and show that you're willing to address potential issues openly and maturely. Even if the relationship remains distant or they choose not to respond, you'll have taken a healthy, constructive approach, which can help you move forward with peace of mind. This choice to reach out in a calm and considerate way reflects your commitment to understanding rather than reacting, and it sets a positive standard for how you handle challenges in your relationships. Ultimately, a direct but gentle approach can strengthen the relationship, fostering a space where both people feel safe expressing themselves without fear of judgment. You may find that the other person was simply waiting for an invitation to share their perspective, and your calm outreach could be the bridge back to mutual understanding. By showing empathy and restraint, you create a foundation of trust and compassion, which are the true building blocks of any meaningful connection. When someone you care about seems to be ignoring you, one of the most valuable steps you can take is to focus on your own well-being. It's easy to become consumed by confusion, frustration, or a desire for resolution, but shifting the focus back onto yourself helps to maintain balance and resilience. Focusing on your well-being means prioritizing activities, people, and habits that keep you grounded and happy independent of anyone else's actions or approval. This approach not only preserves your mental health but also strengthens your sense of self-worth, allowing you to respond to others with clarity and grace. In situations where you feel ignored, it's natural for the mind to spin into a cycle of overthinking, self-doubt, or even anxiety. You might start analyzing past conversations or wondering if you made a mistake, which can quickly drain your emotional energy. To counter this, try to redirect your focus from the uncertainty of someone else's actions to things that are within your control. Engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, such as hobbies, exercise, or spending time with supportive friends, helps to break the cycle of self-criticism and instead fosters a positive mental state. When you are invested in things that make you happy, you're reminded that your value and happiness aren't solely defined by one relationship or person's attention. Practicing self-care also involves tending to your emotional and physical needs with mindfulness and compassion. This can include simple yet meaningful routines like getting enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, and exercising regularly. Physical health has a direct impact on mental health, and by taking care of your body, you naturally elevate your mood, energy levels, and resilience. Physical activities like walking, yoga, or any form of movement you enjoy release endorphins and help relieve stress, which can help you process feelings of rejection or loneliness more easily. Small acts of self-care send a message to yourself that you are worthy of love and attention, regardless of how someone else may be treating you. Taking time to reflect on your emotional boundaries is another powerful part of focusing on your well-being. When you feel ignored, it can highlight the extent to which you may be emotionally invested in the other person's behavior. By using this opportunity to examine your emotional needs and boundaries, you can gain valuable insights into your expectations for relationships and learn to balance closeness with self-reliance. Consider asking yourself questions like, what do I need in a healthy relationship? And how can I remain open while still honoring my own sense of worth and independence? These reflections can lead to a deeper understanding of yourself and allow you to set boundaries that protect your emotional energy. In the long term, establishing healthy boundaries strengthens your relationships by ensuring that they're built on mutual respect rather than dependence. Focusing on self-improvement is another constructive way to channel your energy during this time. This might be the perfect moment to start a project you've been putting off, develop a new skill, or work on personal goals that bring you a sense of accomplishment. By dedicating time to your own growth, you not only boost your confidence, but also remind yourself of your capacity for change and resilience. Taking steps toward your goals, whether they're related to career, personal development, or creativity, provides a powerful sense of agency and fulfillment. This focus on growth helps you realize that while relationships add value to our lives, your self-worth and happiness don't depend solely on any one relationship. Another powerful aspect of focusing on your well-being is surrounding yourself with people who support and appreciate you. When feeling ignored by one person, it's easy to overlook the positive relationships you have with others. Reconnecting with friends or family members who make you feel seen and valued can restore your sense of belonging and remind you that you are loved. Spending time with people who uplift you helps balance your emotions and reinforces that there are people who genuinely enjoy your company. These interactions can serve as a positive reminder that relationships can be enriching and joyful, and they can help offset the negativity of feeling ignored. Mindfulness and gratitude practices are also valuable tools for enhancing your well-being during emotionally challenging times. By practicing mindfulness, you can better observe your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. For example, instead of getting caught up in thoughts like, why are they ignoring me? You can acknowledge that you feel hurt or disappointed and gently let the thought go. Mindfulness helps you create mental space between your emotions and your reactions, allowing you to respond calmly rather than from a place of hurt or desperation. Adding a gratitude practice, where you take a few moments each day to reflect on things you're thankful for, can also shift your focus from what you're missing to the abundance you already have. These practices build resilience by grounding you in the present moment, reminding you that even amid difficulty, there is still much to appreciate. Finally, focusing on your well-being also involves practicing self-compassion. It's essential to be gentle with yourself when you're feeling hurt or rejected. Self-compassion means recognizing that it's natural to feel this way and that it doesn't make you weak or overly sensitive. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment and remind yourself that it's okay to take time to process emotions. Replacing self-criticism with self-kindness can transform how you relate to yourself during challenging times. By treating yourself with the same understanding and care you would offer a friend, you reinforce your own value and create a solid foundation of self-love. In summary, when you shift the focus to your own well-being, you regain control over your happiness and emotional state. Instead of waiting for validation or answers from someone else, you affirm that your worth is intrinsic and independent of others' actions. By investing time and energy into self-care, personal growth, supportive relationships, and mindfulness, you build a resilient sense of self that can weather the ups and downs of relationships. This focus on your well-being not only helps you navigate the present moment with grace, but also strengthens your ability to build healthier, more balanced relationships in the future. Ultimately, nurturing your well-being is an empowering act of self-respect that sustains you through whatever challenges may come.